All right, let's get right into it. We're diving into one of literature's greatest cold cases, a mystery so perfectly constructed by a master storyteller that even he couldn't finish it. Why? Because he died before he could reveal the solution.
So, that quote you're seeing? Those are pretty much the only words Charles Dickens's publishers could offer his readers. They basically confirmed what everyone feared. The ending to his final novel was just gone, lost forever. So, you see, this isn't just some unfinished book. It's more like a crime scene, where the lead detective, the author himself, vanished before he could point to the culprit.
So consider this the official opening of the case file. We're talking about Dickens's final mystery, a story that honestly, masterfully sets up what seems like the perfect crime. And then it just stops, dead in its tracks. And it's left readers, people like you and me, playing detective for, over 150 years now.
So where does this all go down? Picture this, a silent, kind of gloomy city. It's ancient, steeped in all this monastic history, and Dickens himself gives it this earthy flavor that comes from the cathedral crypt. You can almost smell it, right? It's a place just oozing with secrets and shadows. You couldn't ask for a more perfect stage for a dark deed.
All right, now we get to the heart of it, the inciting incident. It all happens on Christmas Eve. But this isn't some festive, happy night. No, there's a storm of unnatural, almost supernatural violence. And it's on this night that the young man at the center of our whole case, Edwin Drood, just disappears.
So who is this Edwin Drood? Well, he's a young guy, pretty boyish and well-liked. He's got this bright future ahead of him as an engineer, ready to head off to Egypt and build incredible things. But there's this one big complication, his engagement to Rosa. It was all arranged when they were kids, and now it's just awkward. It's this whole settled future that, if we're being honest, neither of them really wants.
Okay, let's break down the timeline of Edwin's last known hours, because this is crucial. First, he and Rosa break off their engagement, which should be a happy thing, right? A fresh start. Then there's this so-called reconciliation dinner with his rival. And to top it all off, this absolutely ferocious storm rolls in, providing the perfect cover for anything. By the next morning, he's just gone. Poof! I mean, it's the perfect setup for a crime.
So, Edwin's gone. The immediate question is, who did it? Who had a motive? Let's take a look at our persons of interest, because we've got a whole cast of suspects, and every single one of them is hiding their own secrets and, these simmering resentments. First up, and he's got to be our primary person of interest, is John Jasper. He's Edwin's uncle and his guardian. And this guy is like the textbook definition of a classic Victorian theme, the divided self. To the public, he's this respected choir master at the cathedral, pious, cheerful, you name it. But in private, he's a completely different person. A tormented man who absolutely despises what he calls the cramped monotony of his life and finds his only escape in the haze of opium dens.
Next on the list, we've got Neville Landless. And honestly, if you were trying to create the perfect scapegoat in a lab, you'd come up with this guy. He's an outsider, he has this really explosive temper, he's Edwin's direct rival for Rosa's affection, and get this, he was in a huge, violent public argument with Edwin just hours before he vanished. His own words, "It was well he died when he did, or I might have killed him." I mean, they practically write the case against him.
And right in the middle of this whole mess, this triangle is Rosa Bud. She is the prize, the object of obsession, and really the catalyst for everything. That broken engagement with Edwin, it seems like that's what lights the fuse on this whole tragedy. The sad part is, she has absolutely no idea just how much danger she's in.
Okay, so the official search for Edwin pretty much goes nowhere. It stalls out. But underneath the surface, this whole web of secrets starts to unravel. And the things our suspects say and do, well, they start painting a really, really disturbing picture. Just think about this for a second. Jasper, our respectable choir master, takes the local stonemason on this bizarre late-night tour of the cathedral crypt. Why? He starts asking all these questions, getting obsessed with the details of the tombs, of quicklime. This doesn't feel like simple curiosity, does it? It feels way more like a calculated reconnaissance mission, like he's scouting for the perfect hiding place.
So, time passes. 6 whole months go by. Still no word of Edwin Drood. You can just feel the weight of this mystery hanging over the whole town, and it seems to be driving our prime suspect, Jasper, to a pretty shocking confrontation.
And here it is. Jasper finally gets Rosa alone, corners her in a garden, and that's it. He drops the act completely. The mask of the kindly, loving uncle just shatters, and what's underneath is terrifying. It's this deep, dark obsession. He tells her straight up, "I don't ask you for your love." He wants to possess her, even if it means all he gets is her hatred.
Listen to how he talks here. He speaks about Edwin in the past tense, like his death is a done deal, a settled fact. He says, "There is my fidelity to my dear boy after death. Tread upon it." He's practically throwing his supposed loyalty to his nephew on the ground, almost boasting about his betrayal. It's this chilling, indirect confession.
And this is where his manipulation just becomes pure evil. He traps Rosa. It's not just with his own threats against her, but he's holding Neville's life in his hands. He makes it crystal clear. If she tells anyone, he will make sure Neville Landless is blamed for the crime. So her silence becomes Neville's only protection. What a trap.
But maybe the most damning evidence we get comes from Jasper's own lips. He's back in a London opium den, and under the influence of the drug, he starts talking, muttering to the woman who runs the place. He's reliving something in his mind, some dangerous act.
And he's not talking about the drug trip itself. No, he's describing this dangerous journey, a journey he says that he took over and over again in his mind through vast expanses of time, but he only did it for real once, and when he finally did it, he says it was over so fast it almost wasn't worth the effort. Tell me that doesn't sound exactly like a carefully rehearsed murder.
So, the net is tightening around Jasper, right? It feels like the walls are finally closing in. An investigator even shows up in town. We're on the edge of our seats. And then, nothing. The story just stops. Cold.
Yeah, a brand new player enters the game, this mysterious, white-haired stranger who calls himself Dick Datchery. He takes up residence right across the street from John Jasper and just starts watching him, investigating. You really feel like, okay, here we go. We're on the brink of a breakthrough. The final confrontation is coming.
But this is where we hit a brick wall. After 23 chapters, right when everything is coming to a head, the story just ends. The narrative ceases. Is Datchery going to expose the killer? What's going to happen to Neville and Rosa? We're left with all these clues, but the final answer, the judgment, just hangs in the balance. Forever.
Because the real-life death of the author, Charles Dickens himself, became the final and, frankly, insurmountable plot twist. This incredible mystery that he so brilliantly crafted was just left. No solution. Sealed by his own mortality.
And just like that, a piece of fiction becomes a genuine unsolved mystery. I mean, let's be real. The evidence against Jasper seems overwhelming, right? You've got the motive, this insane obsession. You've got the reconnaissance trip to the crypt. You've got what sounds a lot like an opium-fueled confession. But without that final chapter, without the words from Dickens himself, can we ever be 100% certain? So, I have to leave the final question with you. What do you think happened to Edwin Drood?